In part 2 of What is the Threat, we will discuss what threats are specific to PHP and what are some resources to find out more. It's worth noting, however, that the primary interest in this course is what threats are specific to PHP. These threats can include things such as misconfiguration, improper filtering and validation of user input data, certain types of attacks such as cross-site scripting, SQL injection, code injection, etc., and finally, vulnerabilities which are found in open source software based on PHP. These are the things which will be discussed specifically in this course. We'll show you what the attacks look like and how to defend against them. It's good to know, however, that there are many resources which can assist you in detecting, analyzing, and protecting against various forms of attack. As an example, we have the OWASP, which is Open Web Application Security Project. As you can see on the left-hand side, there is a number of very excellent references, which include references to activities, attacks, actual code, controls, terminology, and various projects. There's also a very good discussion on threat agents, and there's also a very good discussion on the process of what is called threat risk modeling, or performing a security analysis of your system. On the php.net website itself, there's a link to security. The web reference is php.net/manual/en/security.php. In this, you will see a discussion of security considerations which are specific to the PHP language, including considerations in terms of running PHP and installing PHP. There's a website called cvedetails.com, which will give you actual statistics in terms of the PHP language itself. And as you can see, it's broken down by year and by the various vulnerabilities which have been reported over the span of time. Again, there are a number of very excellent charts and graphs which can give you a good grasp of the scope of the problem. The good news for PHP developers is that in the year 2013, there were only 8 reported vulnerabilities as of the date of this recording. Darkreading.com is an excellent website to give you more information about the various types of threats, attacks and breaches, cloud considerations, database, insider threats, mobile, monitoring, risk assessment, and that sort of thing. Finally, in terms of open source software, what I would advise you to do is to go to the actual website for the open source project itself. In this example, we're looking at the Vulnerable Extensions List documentation for the Joomla open source project. We talked about how can you analyze the threat. The threat can be analyzed in terms of threat agents or actors, which could be internal, external, or partners. Intentions and motivations, which generally are financial or political. Actions, which could include actual attacks in the form of hacking, malware, physical attacks, and directionality, push or pull. What types of threats are out there? These include automated threats, which oftentimes come from exploit kits. They could include viruses, worms, trojans, adware, spyware, malware, and others. The threat could take the form of disgruntled employees or contractors. It could be criminal in terms of organized crime, gangs, or others interested in illegal gain. The threat could take the form of espionage, companies spying on companies, or even governments involved in espionage. The threat could involve politically motivated individuals or groups where there are ideological considerations. The threat could also be purely accidental or careless in nature. And finally, there could be disasters where the main problem is where there are no off-site backups. How bad is it? From Forbes, biggest cyber attack in history. From Imperva, one website had 26 attacks per minute. From Symantec, 42% surge in attacks. From Network World, 70 to 80% of the attacks now originate from exploit kits. What threats are specific to PHP? This list is not exhaustive. However, primarily the threat would be problems due to misconfiguration of PHP itself, the PHP INI file, or the web server, failure to filter and validate the PHP superglobals such as $_get, $_post, etc., attacks in the form of cross-site scripting, session-based attacks, injection attacks, all of which will be discussed in future videos. And then there are open source vulnerabilities. What are some resources? These would include the OWASP.org website, the PHP.net website, the Open Source Vulnerability Database, which is OSVDB, PHP Version Details, which is the CVEDetails.com website, darkreading.com, and for open source, go to that specific project. This concludes the discussion of what is the threat.